Good afternoon. I am here with our friend from Pennsylvania, Miss Deborah Kelly, and we'll be joined later on by one of our other members, Miss Gloria. Now, Deborah, I just want to say thank you, first of all, for making the time to help us get out the vote and to share what you're doing. Just tell the audience and our listeners where you are, what you're doing to get out the vote, and what you're doing to mobilize people to get to the polls today.
Um, well, I am a part of a group of dynamic women from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and we are called Mobile Voters Pennsylvania. And we came together to make sure that there is change going on, positive change. We were tired of the shenanigans of stealing the votes and manipulating lawmakers in their favor. So we do have an agenda to get the vote out and take voters to the polls, take them to the polls, use sanitary measures to do that, pick them up and take them home. So this is what
Okay.
our plan is to do. Pick voters up from their homes, take them to the polls, have them vote, and take them back home. This is how strong our convictions are in terms of getting people out there to vote.
Well, tell me, I think that's awesome because too often we mobilize people to remember and to recall voting time frames, and a lot of time the assumption is that everybody have a way to get there. So while we're
Mhm.
asking them to make a plan, we have those who are even in facilities that can't get there. Though I know that provisions are being made for those in facilities to vote, or those who just don't have transportation. So I am just grateful that not only are we talking about voting in Pennsylvania, you are actually making it happen. Tell me again, how long mobile voters been around?
We have been in existence since August, planning for this day, planning for this event. So if anybody has vans that we can rent or that they can donate, if they want to rent or adopt a bus for $1,000, um, if they want to provide volunteers, we are in need of all of that funding. We are in need of that. So they should go to mobilevoterspa.com, go to how they can make a contribution. We would totally appreciate it. Please call this number. This number is 267 416 0177. I will repeat that so we can make this happen because it takes not only just one group, it takes all of us together to see this happen.
Okay.
I'm going to repeat the number 267 416 0177. And I'll repeat it again throughout the time that we're together. Thank you.
But no, no, that's excellent. We will repeat it again in the end, and we'll have a chance to put it onto our social medias across all platforms. So today, I know that we have 5 days to go. I believe it's 5 days and 120 hours. So I am just trying to push people the best way I can to get out to vote and to remember the weather may change, but hang in there. We're with you. We're praying you through. We're just glad that everybody understands what this election is all about. And we have a right to vote. And so it is our civic duty to be able to lead and to follow wherever our pathway goes. But make sure that when you get to the polls, take care of one another. That's the biggest thing, is that we
Mm.
have to take care of one another, watch for one another, and just make sure that whoever's in the line are able to get to the front and cast their vote. This is critical. I know that Pennsylvania is center stage right now, but guess what? We are not
Mm.
going to focus on what the courts is doing. We're just going to keep mobilizing to go to the polls, and just exercise our right, because it is our right to be able to get to the polls. I know that. How far are you from Philly? What it was doing the dancing at the polls, Deborah?
Oh yes, wasn't that unique? That they're, we're a wonderful people, aren't we? We're a great people.
Oh, I
We
just
were great people years ago in starting civilization, and we're still a wonderful people today with the contributions that we have made to America and the world, with building America up, and going through what we've had to go through with second class citizenship,
yes.
with being denied the vote, with all the shenanigans, as I said before, with the poll tax and then with the signatures, Trump's people wanting to have it pass where they would determine whether the signature is accurate. And if they decided that the signature was not accurate, they were going to throw those votes out. Can you
Yeah.
imagine that?
Yeah.
Putting them in charge of that, you know?
Well, we
So,
talk about voter suppression. Let me just say this: where man intend for evil, God intend for good. All
right.
that talk about voter suppression is actually going to backfire because it just turned out the vote. So, I'm just raising my hand to the fact that I just love our people, how we know how to take anything and be able to press
Mm.
our way forward. And that's what I was thinking about when I saw the voters dancing in the line at Philly the other day. I was like, just like Philly to get it going, get the party started. We would not be discouraged. We would not turn around and we were not giving up. We're not known as a people to give up. And
That's
so I
right.
know that we're in it for the long haul. And
Mhm.
we're not going to quit once November 3rd come and go. We know that the work begins the day after. And so we're going to stay vigilant and continue to stand on our faith and know that victory will be ours. And whatever the results is on Tuesday morning, I am still in the fight. And I know you guys are still in the fight.
Mhm. And I tell people that we see frustrations all the time, and there are some things in our power that we cannot change. Because we can't change everything. We don't have the power to change everything. But what we have the power to do is change what we can.
Yeah.
And if we don't do that, we can implode. It's healthy to outwardly work towards your goal and your purpose. And so that is what we've come together as really Black women for Biden, and also women for I'm sorry, Mobile Voters PA. Mobile
Yeah.
Voters PA we've come together for this purpose. And it's really not only to save other people, but to save ourselves and our communities.
Yeah, we're fighting for the next generation so that
Yes.
they can continue to fight for the generation that comes behind them. Again, this is not our first fight, first of all. So we want people to know that whatever they need, can you repeat again what it is that you need help with so people who are listening and we can share it later as well?
Okay. Well, we're looking for individuals to adopt a bus for $1,000. We're looking for volunteers. We're looking for materials. I hate to say that we don't have sanitation, gloves, water. And you may call this number 267-416-0177 to help us ladies here in Philadelphia get out the vote. And so we just want people to vote your purpose.
Well, we want to thank you, and we have Gloria on the line here. And yay, Miss Gloria, how you doing?
Uh-huh. Hello, Gloria. Oh, I hope she's
Gloria is working on her mic, and so we're going to be able to keep her. She'll tune in when she get it locked in.
she looks
Uh,
a little frozen.
yes, Gloria, go ahead and can you hear us, Gloria? That's okay. We're going to keep on going. She's working her way to get in. Gloria, go
Mhm.
ahead and we're going to go ahead and continue at this point. Again, we wanted to be able to talk
Mhm.
about
And
how long you're going to be doing this through.
yes,
What location?
that Dr. Fowler, I'm so proud of the women, not only in Philadelphia, but, in Atlanta, in Alabama, various other parts of the United States who have come together and organized also to get the vote out.
Yes. Hey, Deborah, Gloria, can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you, but it is broken up. But I think it's because of the weather we're having over here, not you. We've
Don't
got
worry.
rain. Yeah,
Yes.
and the lights have been flashing on and off around here. So I may be in a technological glitch, but everybody looks wonderful.
Well, you look wonderful too. Thank you for
Yes, you do, Gloria.
thank you for your perseverance to get on today. We want you to continue to tell us about the work you're doing. Deborah has already told us the locations, and we'll continue to talk about that. But if you're talking to the audience right now in Pennsylvania, I just want them to know how long you've been doing this, how long you've been working with this, and what you're doing today and for the next 5 days.
Okay, you're coming in and out, but my understanding is what we should be doing for the next 5 days.
What you're doing for the next
what we
day.
should be focusing on.
Yes.
Well, first of all, I'm gonna say there's a lot of prayer that needs to be gotten around here at this particular point because the devil is quite busy. The other thing is, as Michelle Obama has said, make sure you have a plan and a backup plan to vote so that if they try to come at you one way, because we do have voter suppression and it's alive and well, then you have an alternative. And we're trying to make sure that we have that alternative for Philadelphians with mobile voters so that given the fact that we've got seniors that need to get to the polls, we've got curfews that have been imposed on Philadelphia and other issues, then we're providing free transportation back and forth, not be a deterrent, and to make sure that they've to be able to be.
That's okay. Deborah, exactly where your location at, so people can go there and be able to speak to you if they need to get in to help you out.
Please call this number, 267-416-0177, if you would like to make a donation or if you can volunteer. So this is our telephone number for you to call, and we will give you a call back if somebody does not answer the phone. So we would appreciate any funding, adopt a bus, volunteers. If there's vans from a church that you can lend us or that we can rent, we would appreciate that.
Gloria, are you there? Hi, Gloria.
The bus is a good program. It's a good way to make sure that the bus.
Yeah, I believe she was saying that Mobile Voters is a program where you need buses. We have a bad connection with the weather that's going on right now, but I know that vans are needed to help mobilize and get people to the polls.
Yes, and volunteers. We need volunteers. And so we can get this done. We have to make this valuable contribution. Because if we sit back and do nothing and it doesn't work in our favor, then who is to blame? But if we get out there, each and every one of us get out there and do what we can, then at least we can say we tried our best.
Well, I know that people are listening. And again, I'll be sharing this across our platforms so that people can continue to help out. But you can share it as well from your platform. And so we'll just continue to be able to work through this. Listen, we got 5 more days. So this is not our last time being able to have this conversation. So don't be discouraged at all. My thing is that we're in this together.
Yes, yes, we are. Yes, we are. And it's wonderful that we can see that we're not alone in this.
Exactly.
That people are with us, that it's almost like a crusade, with togetherness towards a common purpose and a common goal.
Well, I want to thank you ladies for working. Gloria, can you hear us? I just love her. She's like, I'm going to do this. Gloria, can you hear us?
She's frozen down there. Isn't that something?
Yeah, the weather has really got it. We're going to have to try her another time. But at the same time, I'm writing information in here so people can understand. I think it's important that they not only hear us, but they actually have this information to go back to. And so, your voters. So I am asking if you could continue to tell us about the fact that how your location is in Pennsylvania
Yes, for parts of Philadelphia.
and
You know,
possibly
so our goal is all of Philadelphia, but we have individuals working who are planning in South Philadelphia and West Philadelphia, and anybody who needs a ride to the polls.
very good.
Anybody who needs a ride, please call this number. If you need a ride and you have not contacted your church or your minister has not asked you if you needed a ride, please call this number. We need to know you're out there and you need to be assisted. Individuals who have health problems or have difficulties getting around, call this number 267 416 0177. Go on MobileVotersPA.com and go to our site if you can make a contribution of any sort. MobileVotersPennsylvania.com. 267-416-0177. If you need a ride to the poll or if you can make a contribution towards what we're doing, it would be thoroughly appreciated.
That'd be good.
Dr. Fowler, that's my telephone number up there you have on the screen. That's my personal number. If anybody saw that number, that is a legitimate number. That's my telephone number. So if you want to call me, that's fine. You can call me using that number. But the local number that's set up for it's 267-416-0177. You should call. But if you call me, that's fine too.
Just repeat that number one more time, please.
267-416-0177.
Got it. Volunteers are needed as well, correct?
Yes, volunteers are needed. If they have a van that they can lease, they could have a van that they can lend us. If you can provide funds, it would be appreciated. If you need a ride to the polls, call that number, 267-416-0177.
Great. I think we were able to get that number corrected.
Okay, very good.
There you are.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Fowler.
Listen, perseverance, things are going to happen and we're not going to quit. We're not going to be overshadowed or overcome by any challenges. Again, we need everyone to just join in with us. And if you see the number on the screen, give a call. If you have any funds that you can donate, call them. Again, we're in this together and we got 5 more days to go. We have to keep pressing on. We're not going to give up. We're not going to be discouraged. I am convinced that we are doing the work. And if we do the work, victory shall be ours. I am just grateful for the fact that I'm able to reach out to you and Miss Gloria for doing the heavy lifting that you're doing. And I know that people who are listening as we share this, your friends who are watching as we share this, understand challenges will happen. But guess what? We're overcomers. We're overcomers. We don't give up. And so we are in a fight for our life. This is not a one-day fight. This is not just a season of fight. This continues to be an opportunity to make change. We have to make change and not wait for change. And that's what we're doing today. And we are encouraging everyone to do so. In regards to what you've already done, tell us about your some of the great and good news stories.
Well, we've had contributions of $1,000 from very generous people. So we're just looking for more contributions so that we can get more vans. The more vans we have, the more SUVs we have, the more people we can take to the polls, the more areas that we can go into to do that.
Is there a cash app that you have available that people can send donations to? Or if you don't have it now, we can certainly post it later. I'm sure people would like to be able to contribute. I know I would. And so we can post that cash app later on and just make sure we get dollars in that you need to you and get volunteers to you. So we're going to do this. Today is Thursday. And
Well, if you go to our GoFund, we do have a GoFundMe. GoFundMe on, as I said, the MobileVotersPA.com. Go to the GoFundMe on that site, and you can make a contribution as well.
I have that here
Mhm.
for the GoFundMe.
Yes, GoFundMe. That's it. Mhm.
I appreciate that. I appreciate your diligence here. GoFundMe at. I appreciate it. So I got it here, and we'll have people to be able to make their donations. Great. GoFundMe at MobileVotersPA.com, and they'll be able to find the GoFundMe. So listen up, everyone. We are definitely in here to make this happen. Miss Gloria, are you there? I think she's still frozen. Bless her heart. Can you hear me, Gloria?
Hello. Can you hear me
Yes.
now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, but it's up.
Go ahead, Miss Gloria.
Okay, I just apologize, but my system has been working up until now, so obviously we've got a glitch going on. Everybody looks wonderful, as I said. Let me just give you a brief background on how we started, if it has not already been done, how we started Mobile Voters. Deborah, did you already cover that?
But I said my words, Gloria. Go right ahead.
Okay, I'm going to take that as, let me just update you to what prompted me to start this was the fact that during our June 2nd primary here in Pennsylvania, when everybody was sequestered and doing mail-in votes, I later found out that we were hit with a double whammy. One, the Postal Service was dismantling sorting machines, so a lot of the mail-in votes were not getting taken care of. And number two, the state of Pennsylvania, for some reason, disallowed 1.4 million mail-in votes. They were not counted. They were not utilized at all. And so that meant 10% of the voters in Pennsylvania did not, their vote was taken away from them because of some little glitch here or some little glitch there. Add to that the fact that a lot of people didn't get the mail to begin with, and that's a large chunk of people. So what I started thinking about was,
Oh my. Well, we're going to make sure we give you her opportunity to be able to tell the story. But Gloria, Deborah, go ahead. Go ahead, Deborah, and let us know what the good news story you were going to share earlier. And everyone, again, we have to endure the challenges and overcome the challenges. So just bear with us and hang on in there. We got some great information, and we want to make sure that Pennsylvania is able to vote and everyone there is able to vote.
Oh, I think Gloria is coming back on now. We are having downpours in Philadelphia. We're having downpours. So maybe she said that was affecting her.
Yeah. Gloria? Yeah, bless her heart.
Yeah, she's trying.
I tell you, we're gonna let her be able to come back in later. But share the good news story with people so you can know that there is definitely some joy in the voting and joy in the community.
Well, there have been anonymous people who have gone to GoFundMe and given $1,000, given $100, given $50, $25. So we feel fortunate that people are responding. We don't have our goal yet. So this is why we're still soliciting funds, because we don't have our goal met yet. But we're optimistic.
Very good, very good. What's your goal?
Good, Gloria.
We originally had a fairly ambitious goal, Arnita, because we thought we were going to be taking people for early voting all the way through till election day. So we had set it at a fairly high amount of 170. That was going to be all the fleet. We were going to have a fleet advance and things like that. We now have, once we realized that the early voter turnout really did make a wonderful difference, we recalibrated our goal to 25,000. which would give us the buses we need for election day, which would take care of the PPEs, would also take care of the attendants and other volunteers, providing them with lunches. And we're looking at having about 20 vans and 3 regular full-size school buses. And then one of our people has paid for a luxury bus. So some of these people are going to ride to the polls in style with the with the chairlift. It's the kind of I mean, seriously, it's the kind of buses that you see our megastars use. But they're underwriting it. So, I'm not going to argue with them about that. I think it's wonderful. So some of our lucky voters will be riding in style, but that doesn't mean that the school buses are sloppy either. And we're going to make sure that we observe the COVID restrictions. We're going to have the sanitizers. We're going to be cleaning up to and from the buses. And we're also partnering with the John Lewis chairs and water to the polls.
Okay.
Although I don't know, the weather's been kind of mild, but I would have thought that in November you would want chairs and tea or chairs and coffee. But we really haven't had a serious cold weather snap. So I'm happy for that too. And I'm hoping that the rain is getting out of the way now so we don't have to have that as a contender. But what I was trying to say was that one of Trump's people predicted that most Democrats would be lazy and sit home and try to do everything by remote control and mail. Okay, whereas the Republicans were going to tough it out and go in person. So that meant that there would be 60% more of their voters than ours. And so that was the reason why I said, no, we can't have that. We got the face mask. We know what to do. So let's start taking people to the polls. And when I contacted Deborah, Tamara, Vanessa, Valerie, Teresa, who else is on our team? Wanda. Talia. And we all got together and started putting our heads together. And I told them we had done this successfully when I was town council representative in California, in Altadena, which is very mountainous. So all the people up in the mountains, they didn't put the polls up there. That's where most of the black folks lived. The polls were down on the lower terrain and toward Pasadena. So if you wanted to vote, and they had no public transportation. And so we called it vote vans then. And they would go up and pick up the people and bring them down, let them vote, give them balloons and a button and take them back up. So that was the genesis of this. And then I found out that in the South, they had already been ahead of the game because they had souls to the polls. And see, they've been doing that since Obama, because when Obama was running, that was how they were able to get such a great turnout, because they were picking people up and going to the polls. And then those people who didn't need rides would do a caravan and take their friends, and they would do a whole caravan to the polls.
Like tailgate,
have a tailgating party after the thing, which is something that I was hoping we could do. Tailgating party, sit out there in the parking lot somewhere and celebrate a victory.
Listen, we got 5 days, Gloria, so you never know what's going to happen.
Well, you know what?
Rallies in the park. They're doing, Joe Biden got it going on. The honking is like, I just want to run downstairs and honk my horn,
Well, I mean, and you know what? That's not something that's a bad idea, because people see voting as a chore. It's a responsibility, it's a right, and it's a victory if you do it the correct way. And so what we figured, if we get a critical mass, especially of our seniors and what they call our quality voters to the polls, then we will be up by 65%.
Okay.
But right now, I'm understanding that our turnout, at least for early voting, is somewhere around 80%. I'm happy about that.
We are. But listen, let me just say, just let you guys know, we have listeners here who are chiming in from Arizona. We have Deborah Simon who's listening, and we have Reba who's over in Maryland. You guys are from Pennsylvania, and I'm here in Virginia. Listen, we can connect, and so I know that we're going to be able to get this done if we just keep sharing and being able to discuss what it is that you need. We have to be able to speak out. Look, we're not too proud to ask. We're in this together. So every dollar counts. If you have $5 for 5 days left, go ahead and donate it. We really appreciate it. And just put on there and just comment right here. If you've already voted and you live in Pennsylvania and you're listening, then I need you to be able to to respond here with your hands up raised. You know,
Mhm.
give us a high five. If you have if you're listening, but you don't live in Pennsylvania, but you have people who do, give them a call today. Today is the moment where you have to be able to alert everyone that if they need a plan, they need a ride, they just need to call Mobile Voters at 267-416-0177, and they'll be able to support your need, be it a ride to the poll or a ride from the poll. We'll make sure it happens. Listen, we're in it to win it.
Exactly. Or, you know, they can also email us, and we will definitely, we call the emails as well. And shall I give that to you now?
Yes, I'm ready to share it.
Okay. It's MobileVotersPA
Okay.
at gmail.com. So they can also email us and we will respond that way. Some people have already done so. We will respond that way as well. This is something that we were talking about living or not living in Philadelphia. Well, I'm in Philly. I'm originally from New York. My New Yorkers come down here. We're the swing state. I said, well, the next time you come down from New York to swing by with some donations for those of us who are trying to make sure that we get people to the polls. We appreciate it, but you know, you come to Philly, you're kind of preaching to the choir. And that's the problem.
Okay.
It's good and it's bad because we already pretty well know. I mean, you've got the apathy issue, and that's, I think, where everybody needs to focus. We're also concerned about the apathy issue. We've got the youth who say, well, I'm either going to vote for Kanye or I'm not going to vote at all, or I don't like either one, or it's the lesser of two evils. I was watching our brother last night, Ice Cube, who was on Trevor Noah last night trying to rationalize what he did. And I like him enough to give him a slide. But the bottom line is that the PR that came out was not very good. And if you're really trying to make sure everybody knows that you're not against Biden, you got to do a lot more than that little bit that you did on Trevor, because that shook a lot of people up.
Yeah. I know that you're right. We have to be able to do more. This is not a one-day affair. And based on what we're fighting for right now, I would just advise Ice Cube to get his own parking lot and hold his own little rally and get people to the poll, you know, donate some funds here at Mobile Voters, and that he can also provide some band. There's a lot he can do. And so I would just give him a shout out and say, I'm glad, man, that you put the pen to the paper, you know, but this is not a one-day affair, and we're only at the beginning. And so while everyone is trying to do something, so we got 5 days left to do something for voting, but we have months in front of us where the work really began on the morning of November the 9th. And so
we got a lot of undoing of evil to do. And I don't want anybody to forget that. There's a lot of evil that has been done in 4 years. But while we were talking about Philadelphians, I was thinking about Patti LaBelle, Kevin Hart, Will Smith, all of those Philadelphians. Jill Scott, who could actually contribute and help with what we're trying to do.
Kenny Gamble.
Yeah, exactly. Kenny Gamble. I've sent Kenny a solicitation, by the way. Because the thing about it is, this is Philly. I mean, there are people, of course, who are quite financially well off, but in the main, the people who helped you get where you are suffering. The people who are your fan club, those people who bought your records, those people who came to your shows, are still the ones under the thumb of what's going on with the predator in chief in DC. And so whether you can go and live anywhere you can take your money and go anywhere to the Caribbean or whatever. We still have to be here, and if we can't buy anything, you guys can't get any more money, unfortunately. So you need to help us out.
That's right.
Seriously.
You know, the fact of the matter is, those who are in entertainment, they're those who are working, and we are the people who have been able to help get their records sold, get them the limelight, you know. And so we're not even calling out entertainers today. I'm just calling all people. because social justice is not a one-day thing. It's a lifestyle.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And
And
when you have somebody that has disrupted it in such an egregious manner, on
yeah,
a deliberate basis,
yeah,
consistently, 247, 365 times 4, because that's all he's been doing. Every little fracas that he could start, that has been his MO from the day he walked in to the White House and turned it to the Orange House. This is what you have, and now we have all of that to undo and to rectify. And the people who are the collateral damage behind this, that we're going to have to now go back and probably get them some psychiatric care. Those 500 families that don't know where their kids are, those
yeah.
kinds of things. This is horrible.
Anytime 226,000 people can die under your watch,
Thank you.
you have no right to be on the ballot. Let me just call it.
Just call it what it is.
Like, what are you running for? To do it again? I don't think so. And so those who are not able to actually do something, we're doing it now by voting. And that's why we're asking everybody to vote. You want to speak up against what has been going on for the past 3.5 years? Put it in action. That's why I talk about leadership. I say we have to rethink leadership from the White House to the church house to the schoolhouse and to our houses. We can't do the same thing we did before time frame. We have to be able to regroup, retreat, and re-engage and be actively involved.
Exactly. And the other thing too is, I'm sorry, Debbie, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to agree with Dr. Fowler that if you have not voted before, this is a great time to change that pattern, to be a role model. If you're not around people who have voted and shown you, why it's important to do it as a role model, then you need to be that change agent in your home, in your community, all the people around you. Show them that you vote in minor and major elections. And
Exactly.
we vote for judges, local judges, who determine how much time an individual might get in prison or jail. We vote for our politicians who determine how they're going to vote in Congress. Is it going to be for us or not for us? So our vote is really important in all elections. So change the pattern. If you have not voted before and think that you have no power to do it,
Right.
you have a small power to do something.
Well, the other thing too is this.
Thank you.
People who are elected forget who they're working for.
Yes.
They're be working for us.
That's right.
Bill Cosby used to say, "I brought you in this world, I'll take you out." We put them in. They
vote you out of office. Period.
Right. They get the vapors, and they think all of a sudden they do not have to answer to us. Maybe somebody is giving them a little bit more money. I understand that. Yeah, they have to. Everything that happens has to run on funds. So we have to understand too that we have to be a part of the funding source. But by the same token, you do not get up there in office and forget the people who put you in office and why they selected you. So you don't get here and then all of a sudden you're not available, or you're distant, or you don't resonate to the issues that are of interest and importance to them. And that's always something that I have been very, very concerned about. I know quite a few politicians, and I'm not going to say who, but most of the ones I know are very, very, very devoted. I can say Janie Blackwell, very, very devoted to their constituency. She is out of office now, but you would never know she was out of office
because she's still working. She's still working.
Yeah.
In the community all the time.
Warrior.
Yes.
Yes.
You
And
know,
that's
a warrior.
That's exactly what we need. We need some praying warriors, but we also need some foot warriors, so that
she's 24/7, and I tease her. I'm like, do you understand what a vacation is? Do you understand? Because she doesn't. And I do have a few other friends who are like that, even though they're not they were committed to what was happening for the people. But then you have those others, and I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not going to name names. You would almost have to have almost an act of Congress to get them to respond to something that's urgent for you. You know, they see you, they want to give you a quick handshake and then pass you off.
Yeah, we're not in this for photo ops. So that's
going back to the thing of leadership. We have to understand that we are all leaders. That does not mean we're competing. We're leaders in terms of what it is that we want for ourselves. There's an old African saying, if the people will lead, the leaders will follow.
If the people will lead,
the
then
leaders will follow. So
and that's true. Listen, the politicians do not know every aspect of initiative,
exactly.
And they don't have the time to commit to each one equally as warranted. And that's why we, the people, have to become involved.
Exactly.
We have to be able to put our demands together, go to the local meetings, city council meetings, stay abreast of what initiatives and votes are being voted on each day. Every vote matters. Listen, when you talk about our Virginia election here in 2018, where it came down and they kind of, the courts okayed one of the ballots that was in question, which now made the election outcome a tie. And they put the in the bowl, and they had to pull the name out the bowl. No, we're not trying to have that type of politics going on and election going on. We got too many voices and too much at stake to be able to just sit back and not vote.
Exactly. Well, that was the other thing too. The good citizen issue is something that they have taken out of the schools. We used to have what was the class that we had? It was called
citizenship?
Civics.
Civics.
Oh, civics, right.
Where you knew how to vote,
right.
What states there were, what this was. You had to learn civics when we were coming up. We sound like a and I tell people, I said, I knew the Constitution because I had to learn the Constitution. Half of these people, half of our peer group now have no clue as to what's in the Constitution. They don't know the Constitution of their own state, which is also important. They don't know that these were things that you learned in school that was a part of your growing up and your maturation. So when you did become of voting age, you were an informed voter. They don't teach them anymore.
Yes. I know when I worked in one of the legislatures in California legislation, I know that I had to sit and be able to meet with the lobbyists that came in, and then convey that information back to the member. And once again, you have to hear both sides of the argument, because you don't know what's motivating people to put an initiative on the ballot. So that's why I say to everyone, read your ballot, understand the pros and the cons in it, cast your vote with an informed mind, and be able to vote on everyone. Vote down ballot, like you said, Deborah. Down ballot is absolutely critical. If people would say Obama didn't do enough, but they have to remember, we didn't give him
that's right
the Senate and the House for him to be able to do something. The Senate
that's right.
Everything he was trying to do, and had already made up their mind that he would be a one-term president. Where that didn't happen,
they doubled down on that. And that was the other thing too. They doubled down, and the thing that was really, really interesting to me, a lot of what they did was basically blatantly unconstitutional. Okay, very blatantly unconstitutional. But the thing that really interested me about the whole situation was, if we were concerned about racists in the streets, none of us really thought about racist in Congress or in the Senate. But I mean, when you started looking at the way they were doing what they were doing to try to thwart him and undermine him and destroy, I mean, I know they were totally flummoxed when the Supreme Court passed the Affordable Care Act. I would be very surprised if the Supreme Court reverses something that they passed. That's pretty unusual for them, even with the new, whatever you want to call it. But, and I'm not going to say anything about that because that's a whole other can of worms. But yeah, out there, if you don't know what's on your ballot, if you don't know what legislatures are coming down the pike locally for you, you can Google your own state or your own city, and they will tell you what's on your ballot.
Yeah.
So if you don't know, go to Google, look up Philadelphia, look up ballots 2020. They will tell you everything that's at stake. And that way, when you walk into that to the voting booth, do we have booths anymore? No. When you walk in to vote.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Go ahead. I know what you mean. I'm looking up the three items that are sitting there, the coronavirus legislation is currently sitting right there on Mitch McConnell's desk right now. Okay, so if anybody
Yeah, he's
want to
got
know why,
475 pieces of legislation that he is not touching because it all comes down to the favor of the people. He is deliberately ignoring 475 pieces of legislation that would make a world of difference in America right now. And he's even made the bold, brash move to absolutely say that he wasn't going to do it. Remember, I told you when we had our little conversation earlier, I told you that I used to cover the Black and Puerto Rican caucus in New York. But I also 35 years of covering the Congressional Black Caucus. So I'm down in DC at least once a year for that, okay? And you'd be surprised the kind of nonsense that these people were doing once they get in office. It's like if you've seen Jurassic Park, the little velociraptors, the little monk things that come after you and they don't stop until they destroy you. That's who they are. That's who they are. They can't get you one way, they will come after you another way.
Well, I want
go ahead.
I just want people to know that here's why we need to hurry up and vote and get this over with, so there's no question that there's a landslide victory. So no matter what they're trying to do in the courthouse, you need to be able to go out there and cast your vote. Listen, nobody's going to shame you. This is your first time voting. Last year, in 2018, I was doing the same type of push, not on live, but just on Facebook. And one lady came back and she said to me, I have never voted, but because I saw your post, I voted for the first time. I had another individual who had who was incarcerated, previously incarcerated, and now he was out, and he was like, and he actually said, I just need to know if I'm eligible to vote, what I need to do to become eligible. I had to jump online for his state and direct him to where he needed to go. So you never know, listen, if we can be able to transform a mind, a heart, to be able to understand why we're in this fight for our lives and to keep going so that our children's children can have a future.
Exactly. I want to say something to our Latino brothers and sisters if they're tuned in, or you got any friends who are Latino, that means Puerto Rican, Cuban, or whatever other descent, who theoretically are going for Trump. I want you to rewind back to when Trump went to Puerto Rico after that hurricane, and he threw toilet paper and paper towels to our Puerto Rican brothers and sisters. Never did anything to help renovate the properties, never did anything to comfort the people, not a thing. Is that what you want to continue to have in the White House? Is that the kind of person that you want your kids to grow up seeing and thinking that this is a good person? Because I've heard it said that some of them are leaning toward him, and that, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Just the image of him taking toilet paper and throwing it out there. These people are starving.
Well,
you're not bringing food.
When you don't have empathy to understand what that's like, you know what I mean? To be able to struggle. If you don't have, you've never experienced it, then you're not able to relate. And so we need someone in the White House who are able to relate to the people who put them there in the first place. We need to be able to reach across the American country, not just one state, regardless of what color the state is. We're not focused on that. We're focused on being able to put a president in that we will not lose any more loved ones to the coronavirus, but that, like Joe said, he wants to shut down the virus. He's not trying to shut down the country. And so we just want to be clear, because right now, Mitch McConnell has the corona relief legislation that has been on his desk for 167 days as of today. The legislation to restore Voting Rights Act has been on his desk for 327 days. So with all the voter suppression that's going on, it's not a coincidence. He's playing a part of it by sitting on the rights, but yeah, he could stop and take the time to rush in a Supreme Court justice before Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg could even be properly and respectfully interned after she passed away. I have a
theory about that, but I will talk to you about that off camera.
And one more thing, one more piece of legislation is that to prevent foreign election interference has been on Mitch McConnell's desk for 371 days as of today. So whose interest are you
Yes.
home on when you say
Exactly.
you're undecided? So you may have some issues right now for those who may be undecided. Let me just say this. I want you to go ahead and vote for Joe Biden
And Kamala Harris.
and Kamala Harris. And then I want you to get involved. That is when you put your demands on the table. Our work begins November the 4th. So please go out there and vote. Holding a vote hostage is really like holding food back from your own family. When it comes to a stimulus check, we're talking about an ongoing process, not a one-time handout, you know?
Right.
So
Exactly.
I know I'm not one of those who are probably in desperate need. So I do pray for those who are and that their needs can be met. But we want to be able to eat every day, not just one day.
And Dr. Fowler,
Yes.
you had mentioned research. If an individual is not sure who they should vote for, research them.
Yes.
Check their interests, how they voted in the past. Are there issues? Do they feel the same way about issues as you do? And then if they do, vote for them. Past behavior is a predictor of future behavior sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
So do your research if you're not sure of your council person to vote for, or your representative, state representative, your U.S. representative. If you're not sure of any of these people, do some research. Then go to the voting poll and vote.
And then on top of that, do the
Deborah,
quick
let me
voting.
tell you,
Go ahead.
I was standing and I voted the first day of early voting here in Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was well informed of everybody who was on the ballot. I got to the voting booth.
Mm-hmm.
I flipped over my ballot to the initiative, then I flipped it back over to the individuals that was there for my local school boards and county. And I did not recognize all of it because I'm a native of New York. So I've been spending the past 10, 11 years
You're
trying
a
to
homegirl.
play. I'm a home girl, yeah. I'm here from Jamaica, Queens, New York. But I'm out here in Virginia, and I have to get familiar with who's who. And I looked at the name. I didn't know them. I didn't rush in and out of the voting booth. I took my time and researched who the individuals were and what their past record. I don't care if people thinking that I took too long to vote. It's worth the wait. It's worth the time for me to research because I want to use my. It's not just that we vote. We have to make sure that how we use our vote.
That's right.
We're voting for, and then we have to show up at the local meeting. So, yes, Deborah, you have to do your research. I don't mind letting everybody know. We don't know everybody.
Right.
I don't know. I just want to make sure that whoever I vote for, that I re-engage them when the election is over, so that I can be able to say, "Listen, I voted for you, and here's the expectation, and here's the letter."
Exactly.
Yes, yeah, make them accountable. That's right.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly. Well, the thing about it too is, in terms of one of the things that we always have to make sure of too, and once we get the people in, as you said, we have to tie their feet to the fire.
yes,
We have to tie our own feet to the fire too. And
amen.
that means not everything is going to get done in the White House or in the State House or any place else. Some of that stuff is on us in the community. And so when we're talking about all of the things that need to be done and the things that need to be worked on and the things that need to be worked out, that's on us too.
Yes,
We live at ground zero. We know when our kids are acting up. We know when the teachers, just like Obama used to say, I cannot make your kids do homework. I can make sure that the school has the budget. Your job is to make sure that your kids do their homework. I cannot make sure that you don't put the trash in the street. Now, the garbage man is supposed to pick up the trash, but if you put the trash in the street and your neighborhood looks like so-and-so, that's still on you.
That's right.
Okay, so we have a
role to play.
Our role, and we cannot abrogate it or act like it's somebody else's fault that our neighborhood looks like it looks if we're the ones doing the mess. By the same token, take credit.
Exactly.
You can look good and stay on top of those people who are not helping you make it look good, meaning those elected officials. If you need the lights fixed on the street, then you make sure that they get the damn lights fixed. Excuse me, ladies. You make sure they get the lights fixed. But by the same token, you don't allow your kids to be slouching around and lounging around. You put together, if they need a community area, start it and make sure they fund it. But you start it. You don't wait for them to start it. You say, all right, we have this church, we have this so-and-so, we're going to be the parents working with these kids, but now Mr. So-and-so or city council rep, we need these funds to keep it going. It's a quid pro quo, as they say, because we have our part to play with this.
Mm.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, we do. We're in, and that's why I say that social justice and being able to vote, civil rights, it's not just a moment. It is
Right.
actually an opportunity right now for us to reclaim and redeem our time. Everything that the enemy has tried to take from us, it's just a temporary distraction right now. Okay.
Exactly.
Yes. Yes.
Listen, let me just tell you something. You can
Mhm.
go ahead and craft your own language to the legislation that
Yeah.
you want to put forward right now. And then you can take it up there and let the person who gets paid to put it in proper language do so. That's what I did when it came to missing
Exactly.
function. I didn't wait
Mm.
for somebody to tell me what I could and what I can't do. I know a
Mhm.
couple of things. Laws are antiquated. They were
Mhm.
made for their time. And
That's
if
right.
you don't bring it back to the table, they won't get revisited, you know? So
Exactly.
you have to stop working at the time where it's just convenient. But if you see something wrong, then see something, say something is more than just in regards to national, international, or domestic terrorists. It's anything. It's even when it comes to missing persons. It's even when you see any kind of injustice done in your community,
There you
guess
go.
what responsibility it is
There you
to
go.
bring it to the table.
Exactly.
It is our responsibility to speak up and speak loud and speak often. Okay.
Exactly. But then
So
also,
that's
like you said, being a part of the process and not a part of the problem,
Yes.
because
yes.
that's what it is.
Exactly. I'm not only going to complain. I'm going to bring you a recommended solution. Now, listen.
Yeah.
Uh,
Mhm.
you may not like my solution, but at least it's a starting place. At least I love a good debate. You know why? Because out of a good debate come great decisions.
Exactly.
Otherwise, it would never get talked about. So I don't look at it as a job. I look at
Exactly.
it as my responsibility to be aware and to
Mhm.
make change where I can. You know, we're here living this life, not just so that we could get up and start all over again with the same
Mhm.
agenda that's only self-serving. We cannot
Right.
be self-serving. We're here. We said, love thy neighbor as thyself, right? I am
Exactly.
my brother's keeper. I am
Mhm.
my sister's keeper. And that's why I said, I'm in it to win it, because there is no losing when you are faithful. When you are
Exactly.
faithful and when you're putting in the work. Who can complain? But first of all, you got to be in the ring to complain.
Exactly.
If you are not in the ring, then you can't complain.
Exactly. And you get whatever the leftovers happen to be because you didn't stand up when you were supposed to
And
be
it's never too late. It's never
right.
too late to get in the ring. And you're never
Yeah.
too old to fight. Listen, it blessed my heart when I see the seniors out there voting,
Yeah.
Mm.
taking their chairs with them. You know, but again, I say we have to watch out for one another. So I have been blessed by this opportunity. Listen, we're not done yet, ladies, because we got 5 days to go.
All
Mm.
right. Well, no, we know this, but the thing about it is, I mean, I hear people catastrophizing and panicking and things, but you know what? We've really, I think we have driven this message. We have done a pretty good job because, well, if it hadn't been for the person shooting himself in the foot with his own mouth, helping us, of course, with the message, we were driving the message home anyway. Do you really want to continue to live like this? Do you really want another 4 years of this madness? But I will never, ever, ever take anything for granted. I don't want anybody to sit home on their keister and think that they can just think it in, wish it in, or pray it in. You got to be up there and pull that daggum lever and vote. That's
Amen. You're right. Pay no attention to the polls. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain,
thank
okay?
you.
Go and vote. Take
That's
your
right.
neighbor. This is the time where we actually start voting and being accountable to our families. Call your family member, call
Mhm.
your cousin, and call your neighbor and see if they've voted. You know, just make sure that they're still able to cast their vote in. Listen, DC and Maryland have same day registration. Hello, DC, Maryland. You
Mhm.
can register and vote on the same day. Okay.
Mm.
So again, don't ever think that you can't vote. And if you can't, if you've already voted, help out. Donate to MobileVotersPA. and go to mobilevoterspa.com. No, mobilevoterspa.com, and you'll find their GoFundMe, and you'll be able to help provide some support.
Help us with the buses, the drivers, the water, the PPE, and everything else. Because what I'm seeing now is that the closer it gets to E-Day, even though they've said 80% of the people voted, that's still a lot of people that still need to vote.
There is.
Yeah.
80% sounds so good.
Yeah.
What that man said 99 and a half just won't do. Gotta have 100.
That's right.
We need to be able to leave our footprint to the fact that we are going to continue to show up, not just to the polls. We're going to show up at our local county office. We're going to show up at our local elections, because we need to really elect our a DA, our attorneys, because that's really who's going to be able to, we'll be able to hold accountable to what happens in our community to our Black sons and daughters, our Black and brown sons and daughters. So that's why I say voting down ballot is critical. Voting down ballot is critical because we need to be able to flip the Senate and hold on to the House, so that when Joe gets in and Kamala gets into the presidency and the vice presidency, they can get things done and undo the evil that has been cast out for selfish reasons. I served in the military 32 years.
Wow, bless your heart.
32 years.
What branch?
In the Air Force.
Oh, wow. That's my son-in-law.
I served 32 years in the Air Force. I deployed 3 times.
Wow.
And I did not sacrifice not being with my family. I did not sacrifice my time. I did not go through what I went through to come here and have to be on my homeland and fight a battle as well. We're going over to fight for other people to have a right. And now I come home. It is very disturbing to know that I am here after serving, and we have a commander-in-chief who have never served. And I can tell you that the disrespect to the presidency office, the disrespect as the commander-in-chief has been has just resonated with me so much so that even that, as I say, as a leader, we do not want transactional leaders, okay?
Right, exactly.
Leadership is not about you at all. It's about the people you're leading. And we need to have trust and loyalty to us, the voters, the citizens of this country.
Well, here you got a situation, and every time I look at that, I wonder how you go and you deliberately hire the most incompetent people that you can find, put them in positions of responsibility just so that you can have them challenge you when you do dumb stuff. They're so busy being grateful, or they're so busy packing their resume that they're not concerned about the positions that they're in. You hire a person in the Postal Service who's competing with the Postal Service.
Yeah, yes.
You bring a person into the Board of Education, to the Department of Education, who's got about as much education as my pet. Okay, you bring somebody in to be the lawyer who was the former mayor of New York, who, if we had had any choice, we would have ridden out on a rail 2 days after he got into office. And it goes on and on and on and on and on. It's a deliberate undermining of every institution.
It is.
The Joint Chiefs of Staff don't know what to do.
Amazing. This is definitely a first for them. But
Yes.
I trust the leaders who are true leaders in those roles will do the right thing. And as I think about what you just said about the post office,
Yes.
so not only did he put somebody in who was competing against the post office, but he put somebody in that would mess up the voting. I mean, the delivery.
Sure. That's right.
As first class mail, and then tell you got to have your vote in by election day.
Right.
Now you've already damaged the process. And now you want to damage the voting process by putting deadlines and limitations, because that's been your MO all along, you know? So that's why I say, everyone, you must hand deliver your vote. Call to action. Those who have not voted and waiting to cast their vote, you must hand deliver your ballot to the ballot box. When you go to your ballot voting location, just talk to one of the poll workers and see where the drop off is. Just make sure it's a ballot location, and then if worst comes to worst, take it to your local elected registrar's office.
Yeah, your ward, your precinct. Yeah, you can take
Your
it there.
precinct.
Yeah. Oh, New York, precincts in New York and Philadelphia, they have wards. It takes me a minute to get used to the word ward, but yeah, we have wards here. But yeah, that's the other way that you can do that. We got a big issue here though, because there's a federal law against tampering with the U.S. mail.
It is.
That's number one. Number two, when somebody tells you that they're going to disrupt the mail, they're going to run the post office because mail-in votes will defeat the Republican Party. If someone tells you that, or if you know that someone is deliberately, covertly interacting with your enemies, Russian and Iranian now, it turns out, if you've gotten all this and they're making the announcement and they're being very bold about this, and they're talking about having armed people go to the polls theoretically to prevent disruption when it's really intimidation, on what planet does that person win anything? On what planet do you allow that kind of chicanery to allow that person to be determined as a president? On what planet does that person get to continue to even be a candidate? That is not something that is supposed to be a part of what this country's ethics purports to be. And when you sit up here on the news and they act like it's all normal, or it's going to be okay, or he will win if he does this. No, he doesn't win, but America loses if they continue to allow it to happen. And this is what's going on.
Exactly. And I know everybody that would wish they could be hands-on, but here's where it counts at. It's at the polls. It's at the polls where we vote. Exactly. I know that we're feeling tired, but we're not giving up. I'm not exhausted.
We have 400 years of experience in hanging in. 401 years rising. We know how to hang in.
Yeah. And so when it comes to being able to hold people accountable, if you got some friends who are undecided, listen, you can speak to them. You could try. You could just tell them all the reasons why. But if they're undecided, they already know who they're going to vote for. There's no way you could be 120 hours from election and you're undecided after 227,000 loved ones have died.
Yeah.
I've seen kids put in cages. Kids are a gift from God. And if you ever had a kid, and if you never had a kid, the fact of the matter is, no one should treat kids. They're the most defenseless people that they are. How dare you? You know, and so it just started out the gate treating people as inhuman, inhumane treatment.
You're talking about a person who is inhumane and is inhuman. He's what you would call a humanoid. You know that in physical form, he looks like he's a real person. I didn't read all of the stuff from his niece's book, but I did. It was enough. Okay. Now I'm a counselor, and I'm careful about how much I allow myself to overload my mind with negativities. But when you're talking about a pathological situation, you put a pathological situation in a position of honor, because the president is supposed to be a position of honor.
Supposed to
be, but we have had some other charlatans in that office in the White House. Nothing as egregious as what we have now. But when you continue to do that, you kind of like set your subconscious mind into a very negative situation. Some people are trying to avoid it, and everything. But on one of my blogs, by the way, I have a blog.
Okay.
Eclectically Black News. in one of my blogs, I had a poster that I had actually gotten from something else that said, if you don't vote, it's a vote for Trump.
That's right.
If you have a protest vote, it's a vote for Trump. If you vote for somebody who doesn't have a snowball's chance in hell of winning, it's a vote for Trump. If you vote for Kanye, it's a vote for Trump. Anytime you do anything other than, as they say, vote blue, no matter who, you vote with Trump. And no matter how people rationalize that madness, I didn't like her, I didn't like him, I thought he was too old, I thought he was this, he had a this, he had a that. No, what you're doing is you are setting up for the rest of the Americans and your peers and your kids and anybody else you hold dear to suffer through another 4 years of
Yes.
this.
Yes.
There's no rationalization for that whatsoever.
And listen, we know that anyone who's in their right mind or not, he may or may not think that he can be held accountable.
Oh, he
But
thinks he can buy his way out. He thinks he can buy his way out. And he probably has set it up to buy his way out. You know, I mean, he got the heck out of New York because Tish James was not playing. Okay. He got out of New York. That's why he stays down there at Mar-a-Lago. Okay. Because Tish James was after him. She was doing everything he had. So, yeah, but he's as long as the Republicans stay in majority, he probably can escape.
And that's why we have to pass that vote down ballot. So that again, we can flip the Senate and keep the House and take the presidency back, you know, so that we can get our country back on the right track and treat people with love.
Exactly.
So that every family can do it. That's what I'm voting for.
Yeah.
I'm voting for the fact that democracy is on the table and on the ballot, and so is my loved ones and my family. I'm not putting it to chance. So that's why I'm taking the opportunity to say, if you have work that you're doing out there, give me a shout out on my social media, Facebook. Let me know who you are. And if you're in Pennsylvania and you need a ride, you want to be able to donate, DM me or message me on Facebook, and I'll make sure that Gloria and Deborah get connected with you. If you have a van, if you have one van, two vans, please just donate them for 120 hours. We just need to be able to use them to get people mobilized and get them to the polls in Pennsylvania. So again, call 267-416-0177. And their GoFundMe is at www.MobileVotersPA.com, and you'll be able to donate. So continue to follow me so that we can continue to communicate and whatever your needs are. If you need information, if you just want to be able to get support, if you need anything in regards to getting to the poll, Deborah and Gloria are committed. They have been doing the heavy lifting already, and I am just absolutely grateful and thankful. Stick around, ladies, as we end our broadcast. I say to all my listeners and those who commented, you can replay and share this with your friends and tell them to get to the voter polls. So thank you, audience. Thank you, Deborah and Gloria. And let's just stick around and talk offline.
Thank you, and stay blessed. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Fowler. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Stay blessed, love.